Okay, so the front yard garden. This is a relatively new thing for us. We've always had this patch of grass between, it's always been kind of awkward because it's between the house and the sidewalk. And I knew I wanted the front yard garden, so it kind of naturally separated itself for me to make this area our front yard garden. It usually gets full sun, although it's pretty shaded right now. And last year I got some rose bushes and a gardenia all for free. So I kind of experimented a little bit up here and put those things in here. They're doing pretty well, despite the ice that we had the other day. And then I also knew I wanted to grow some annuals in here. So over the winter, I put in mustard greens, turnips, and Swiss chard. They all did great. This area holds a little bit of water, so I was a little worried, but they did fine. So the plan is this year to stretch it all the way out to the sidewalk and just to add in perennials, annuals, and lots of flowers to bring in the good pollinators. So today I'm going to focus on seeding Swiss chard, radishes, and mustard greens. So I kind of roughly, this is the first time I've done this, drew out what was going to be in this garden bed. It's a 9x16 garden bed. We had those Mexican petunias. I just had to chop them all, but I think that they'll come back. We have rose bushes that are already there along with the gardenia bush. Basil I have already seeded in the backyard, so we'll move those into the front as soon as they're ready to be moved. I have one mustard green here, so I'm just gonna fill this whole space with mustard green seeds. Instead of doing cabbage, I changed my mind. We're gonna do radishes, maybe turnips. I have cauliflower and broccoli from the backyard I'm gonna bring up to the front, and green onions already started. And Swiss chard is gonna go all along this outer edge. So today's plan is to seed these mustard greens, the turnips, and the Swiss chard. Okay, so we're gonna seed this mustard green, Florida broadleaf mustard. There is cardboard underneath these leaves, so I'm gonna have to cut little squares out and seed underneath. I've done a few right before the ice. I'm not sure they're gonna come through, so I'm gonna put more in there, but I'm gonna fill this whole area with mustard greens. So I already have one turnip here. I'm just gonna fill up this little space with turnips, and then I might do beets right next to them. And then over here on the right-hand side, we're gonna do more Swiss chard. Okay, y'all, I just wanted to give you an update on the front yard garden. I did a little bit of work today, so I'm just gonna kind of walk you through and show you what's new in the garden. It kind of looks like a mess right now, but in a month, maybe two, it's really gonna look great if I can keep everything alive. Okay, so let's see. As you can see, these Swiss chard actually did come back from when I cut them. So they do grow like lettuce. You can just chop them and they'll grow right back. We have lots of weeds in between. I'm gonna pull some of those. Some of them are probably just gonna stay. We also I planted some lemon balm. The lemon balm I cut from a few videos back. I put in water and it rooted, so I'm just gonna try to grow this whole corner as lemon balm. I added in some flowers today, some of the seedlings that we had. So we have some nasturtium up against the front of the sidewalk. The nasturtium's gonna vine out and fill this space, hopefully. And then right behind that, I planted zinnias. And then towards the end over here, we put some alyssum. I also had some green onions just from the supermarket, and I plant those pretty often. I get an extra pack and I plant them, see what happens. We can just snip them for the kitchen. We have, as you can see, we have some little sprouts coming from the other things we planted a couple weeks ago, or last week I think it was. So The mustard greens, the beets. It actually looks like these beets, I think this is where the beets were. Something came along and ate these. And the ones on this whole side really aren't looking good. I got some weeds coming through, but no seedlings. So we may have to reseed those and see what happens. But these mustard greens are looking good. I have quite a few areas of mustard greens. I'll have more mustard greens than I know what to do with. We're still waiting for a few flowers to come through. I planted some ranunculus bulbs all through here. And the Mexican petunias back here in the corner, they don't look good, but the ones in the backyard have slowly started sprouting. As you can see, my gardenia bush looks terrible. It's not breaking when I bend it, so I'm sure it will come back, but all these leaves are gonna have to fall off first. So there it is. It looks a little like a mess right now, but in a couple weeks, month or so, I think it will look pretty good.